down at home decided to watch some TV, listening to the news by Gordon Mosley. Listening to the things that he say he tracking tonight, paying close attention to make sure I hear it right. But when I hear the things that he mentioned on the news, I had to declare them kind of thing got me confused. I hear some things where the ERC noticing, and it convinced me that people ain't learning nothing. We hear so many times about them big name calling, and they say ERC pretend that they didn't learn nothing. But once you're black and you just decide to say a word or two, bet your life on that they say ERC coming for you. Listen to the things you just hear on social media. Only one set of people allowed to talk in one Guyana. I still say nothing, black people in learning. But this is my concern. I hope one day black people will learn. ERC that I would like to know if any of his members happens to be black people. And if that is the case, I want them to answer this call. Tell me how come none of them ain't got no voice at all. You're showing signs of weakness and you're afraid to be fair. And we see the same thing keep happening year after year. And the day will come when all this nonsense will stop. That will be the day when black people decide to wake up. Not so long ago, something terrible happened. This young Indian man want to kill out all black people by poison. But if his shoes was on the other foot, would have been a big threat. But up to this day, this ERC can't do nothing as yet. How come it's only black people committing cybercrime? When critic on social media fussing people all the time, I still say black people in learning. But one day will come when the entire table will turn. Excuse we see they fail to condemn, because these people think that the law is only for them. And anybody else who decide to file a complaint, they go call you a racist and don't want to hear nothing. Plenty complaint from time to time has been brought to their attention, but because of this one-sided cybercrime is why they don't show any concern. There's only one set of people that they really care about, and black people must take the abuse and shut them out. Kidaki Amsterdam went to court just recently for an issue that was highlighted by the same ERC. And with breakneck speed, the police decide to jump on his case. Without a search warrant, they went and search up the man's place. Let us all agree that black people under attack. Different laws for you and me just because we black. I still singing. Black people in London. To all my black friends, we must put a stop to all this nonsense. Cybercrime laws to keep people silent, just to make sure nobody criticizes this government. And while that is a very clear case of dictatorship, it is no surprise that the ERC ignoring it. Why only the chosen few is allowed to have things their way, when people like me and you must have nothing to say? And when ministers in the government start to launch their attack, you never hear this ERC come out and talk about that. They send a policeman all the way to New York. This fella went up there to serve a cold summer on Rick Fallport. Under this thing, this government decide to fabricate a case, but like they forget the warning they get from Latisha James. The vice president is prepared to use as a low life. Because of this kind of abuse, he don't have a wife. I still singing. Black people in learning. Just the other day, I hope your man see help is on the way.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton, and we are here to talk about all that's going on up here. Trust me, if you are on the East Coast, you're in Buxton, you're in Tongue, you're looking for a place to get away to, this is the place. The Cutters, mwah. Listen, I'll be having some just now again. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the ambience is beautiful, fully air conditioned. The decor is on point. The music's on point. Everything's on point. It's just me. I need some work. But everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place or you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But you know, whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, you know, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. This is, Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely needed too. Thank you. All right, so you might be wondering where we are, still in Buxton at Club Twilight. That's where we are. So Club Twilight also has like an Airbnb as well. So you could come, drink, drunk, and come in the back here and lie down. Look at that. Look at that. Perfection. And the people come in the room and so on. The bed sheet matching the blind, matching the carpet, matching the this, matching the that. We know what we things in Buxton don't play with we. So definitely, if you want to come and you may be having a wedding or whatever, and you just want to overnight and just have a good time because you're gonna be drunk, we got too much road accidents. So you definitely want to come drink, have a good time. They have several rooms that you can rent. You have your toilet, you have your bath, you have your sink, you have your dining area, you have the. This is nice. I like it. Anyways, to my friends and my family, if you're looking for me, I'll be overnighting. Also, for those persons who are traveling in from overseas, you want a nice, cozy place out of town, then Club Twilight, call them up, look them up on social media. They have their own Facebook page, and ensure that you come up the side and have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Sorry. I'm sorry. That's it.
Stop running around like headless chicken. Go to Ashton's Marketplace for whole and cut chicken, beef, pork, processed meats like bacon, beef franks, smoked ham, ground pork, calabresa, and lots more. Ashton's offers wholesale and retail. Check them out. Call 613-2332 or WhatsApp 434-327-3955. Ashton's Marketplace at 72 Rob Street, Border. Are you hosting an event? Do you need ice, party ice in large or small quantities? Then call us at 622-5933 for the best party ice available. $1,000 per bag. We do delivery. EC Crystals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Call to have your orders filled today.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T and W Harris Butcher Shop located in the East Ramvelt Market Meat section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T and W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Planning a party? Worry no more. We have all the supplies you need. At EC Party Rentals, we have folding chairs, folding tables, square tables, round tables, long tables, short tables, big tables. We have chairs, red chairs, gold chairs, white chairs, crystal chairs, chairs of all type, throne chairs. What you want, we have. Food warmers, coolers, ice, beverages. At EC Party Rentals, we have what you need to have a good time. You plan the party, we do the work. Call us 622-5933. Easy Party Rentals. Let's keep your party going. Are you looking for tents to rent? Well, look no further. At Easy Party Rentals, Sideline Dam, Buxton North, we have tents in all sizes and colors. All sizes of tents we have. Small tents, big tents, medium tents, extra large tents. Call us on 622-5933. We have what you need. Easy Party Rentals. Big on tents. Yeah, good morning, morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. It is now 7 hours 47. It's Friday. Yes, it's Friday. It's Friday. Tams TV. Tams TV broadcasts daily, Monday to Friday, from 6 in the morning up to 9 Buxtonian morning time. Fridays we do free talk. Fridays you get to call in, you get to share your views and opinions So those of you who are seeing me now on TikTok, this is the second day I'm on TikTok with you. I'm simultaneously broadcasting, as they call it, simulcast. I'm simulcasting to YouTube and Facebook. That's where you'll get to interact with me, really. At least now, I'm still learning the platform TikTok. Those of you who are on Facebook and YouTube, kindly report to me whether or not you're getting a feedback or whether or not the sound is clear and nice and good and you're getting me clearly. Those of you who are on TikTok, welcome to my program. Do share, do invite others to join. The appropriate time, I will, as I learn, you will get to join as hosts and so on and so forth. I was told to encourage you to top up, so please top up, whatever that means. I have to learn these terminologies too. But let me say something. Somebody was asking me, Mr. Amsterdam, are you a DJ now? I don't want you to look at what I do as to whether or not I am a DJ. I want you to listen to the words of the song, the lyrics of the song, as they say. Because listen, yesterday I chose to play Look. Right? I chose to play Look, which basically was saying, listen, I want you to look at this situation. Are you afraid of me now, or are you afraid of the nines that I got in the waist? I want you to look at this situation. Is it that I am a bad person? I also played Circumstances Made Me What I Am. Is it that I am a bad person? Was I born to be bad? Or is it the circumstances that I've been exposed to that have put me, as we like to say, between a rock and a hard place? Do I choose to be good? Do I choose to be an angel, but I go hungry on a daily basis? Right? I want you to listen when I play music. I don't just play music. I'm a lover of music, especially reggae music. I love oldies also. But the idea is this. When I play music, especially in my programs, I want you to pay attention to the lyrics. The beats are always catchy and nice, but many of us listen to music, but we don't listen to the lyrics of the music. The message is usually in the lyrics. Right? So Baby Sham is saying, this is my ghetto story. This is my ghetto story. I remember those days when my bed was a piece of foam on the ground. I remember those days when I used to sleep on cardboard. Right? I remember the struggle that Mama went through. But we got a thing now. We squeeze 7 and enough of them are duck. No. I remember those days when Bonnie used to beat me up in the streets. I had no form of defense. But now I squeeze in 7 and Bonnie running and ducking. I'm not promoting violence. I know a lot of people can come say, this sounds like you're promoting violence. I'm not promoting violence. I always say I am a social scientist. I look at what is happening in this society and I talk about it. I deal with that. Right? And so we have a phenomenon now in this society where we're talking about scripts. And everybody is out to make the scripts look like the demons of society. But nobody's looking at the circumstances that demonized ordinary human beings and caused them to go down certain roads just in the name of survival. Nobody's looking at that. Nobody is paying attention to the No Child Left Behind, that for several years our children just moving from a class to class to class to class just because you want them out of the school system. Nobody is looking at the phenomena in this country where if you're black, you got to stand back. If you're brown, you could stick around, and the closer you are to white is all right. Nobody's looking at that. As a matter of fact, when I talk about these issues, the ERC, the so-called Ethnic Relations Commission, they cry foul. They say Mr. Amsterdam is preaching division. He's putting social cohesion in this country at risk. Social cohesion in this country is already at risk. And Mr. Amsterdam didn't do it. The people in power put social cohesion at risk. Like Jordan said yesterday, he has never seen this country as divided as it did since 1964. Right? Nobody is looking at the phenomenon which has a whole nation of youths. Rankin Chapman, you're having no sound. Something is wrong with your device. Please check it. Thank you. Because nobody else is reporting no sound, and my meters are reading nicely. Right? Nobody is examining the phenomenon which has a number of youths on motorcycles riding around all day. They say idle hands or idle minds are the devil's workshop. Why is it a whole nation of young people are on motorcycles riding all around in this society and turning out to be a problem for citizens? Because they have not been catered for, because there is no meaningful engagement for them. Has anybody looked at that? You think ordinarily human beings would rather ride around on a motorcycle? First and foremost, I'm going to come to that motorcycle story. You think ordinarily human beings would want to ride around on a motorcycle and create problems? You think human beings would want to put their lives at risk by robbing a Chinese supermarket or anybody, as a matter of fact? You think ordinarily that is what human beings are about? In most cases, citizens are elements, or I should say, products of the society in which you live. And so we start from the home, where socialization takes place, where socialization starts. Then we go to the schools, and then we go to social institutions and organizations like the churches and so on. Youth clubs. Where are the youth clubs in this country? What roles do the church play in this society? Except, yes, it might come for me. Except ensuring that they preach a gospel of submission to the people and then stretch out their hands with the collection baskets. What role do these churches play? I grew up hearing that there's separation between state and church. While I was growing, leaders of the church stayed clear of politics and political interferences. Nowadays, leaders of the church are hand in hand with politicians. Go and check the news in recent time, and you will always see, as a matter of fact, I think they have something coming up named Hope is Rising. See the government's involvement in this Hope is Rising business. See the government's involvement in the Hope is Rising, and the government's involvement in churches. The PPP has adopted a policy, maybe on the advice of Edgel, maybe on the advice of Edgel, to make their presence felt in the churches among the congregation through the pastors, because they recognize that the church historically has been used to corral Black people or corral people in general. And so, hey, we didn't know it was so easy to corral churchgoers through their pastors. And so we're going to do it. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to sweeten it for the pastors. You get a duty free, you get a duty free, and you get a duty free. You get a subvention for your church, and you get a subvention for your church, and you get a subvention for the church. Hallelujah. But your people eating bricks. Your society falling apart. How are you a shepherd of the flock if you're not shepherding the flock to safety, if you're not shepherding the flock to prosperity, if you're not shepherding the flock to equality?
And so when the young people say, who church, the man's a gangster and I ain't no thing with you. It's just like gangster outside. Because at the end of the day, I go to church 7 days a week or 1 day a week. It's the same position that the church doesn't do anything for me. The social institutions, where are the social clubs for young people? Where are the sports club for young people? As a matter of fact, it is alleged that a particular minister of government took an entire play field and built a mansion with the nation's money for one of his mistresses. So what do you expect the youths to do? What do you expect them to be gainfully engaged in? In the meantime, when white squall is kicking in their stomach because their parents are underemployed or unemployed, or among the ranks of the employed poor, let me explain it clearly for you. In the ranks of the employed poor, those who are working, but before they even get paid, what they earned is finished and it can't even provide adequately for the household. Minimum wage $130,000. When rent is $50,000 and $60,000. What do you do with $70,000 to last you for 30 days? That's an approximately $2,000. Let me say $2,200 per day. What can you do with $2,200 per day? Right? The UN, I think, said that if you get $550 US per day, you are on the poverty line. $550 US per day is approximately $1,100 in this country. And so if you're getting, if you have access to $2,200 a day, how far are you away from poverty? And so the majority of citizens, and that is a public service minimum, you know, because the private sector minimum is less. Majority of citizens are living very close to the poverty line, some on the poverty line and some below the poverty line. And so when parents can't provide for their household adequately, white squall kicking in their stomach, hunger, and need, then somebody has to do something to provide for somebody else. And the big shots in society, the friends, favorite, and family of those in government, those who get a multi-million-dollar or multi-billion-dollar contracts, they sit and they pray. Not P-R-A-Y, P-R-E-Y, they sit and they pray. Like lions prey on deers, perhaps, or other small animals of the jungle, they pray. They look to see who they can devour. And who are the ones that are devoured? Those that are in situations of need. Those who are in situations of poverty. And so our children are placed at risk. Here what happened. I am a friend of the government. I'm a drug smuggler, but I'm a friend of the government. I'm in part of the underground illegal economy, but I'm a friend of the government. The government watches my back. You need money. You gotta come every day and beg me for something to eat, you know. Or you gotta every day upon the roadside begging, you know. I could set you up. You see the youth man there? You see who you riding? It's an XR you riding. How you think you get an XR? You could move a bag for me, you know. And if you're willing to move a bag for me, I can set you up. I said, well, I hungry bad, I can move a bag today and I can get bread. And the bag move today and I get bread. What? I feel good, boy. I get raised, I could eat. Maybe the piece of foam now could turn a Springfield mattress. I come off the ground, I feel elevated. What? The man showed me a way out. And then it moved from moving a bag to moving bags. And then, you know, the one I get a bag for move that the man disrespect me, you know. I gotta do something, but the man, you know. What want I do? Why boss yet for you? Yeah, I ain't 100,000. I can give 500 US if you boss yet. But me ain't got nothing. Me ain't got the thing. Me ain't got the piao piao. I can get it for you, man. I can link it for you. And the next thing you realize, another young man is caught in this cycle of crime. And we look at him and we say, hey, there's a script. There's another script. And the part of the young lady, yo, you ain't got that, so every day you're up on the street kind of looking dirty and sour. I could take care of you, know. You see how me girls just look? Nobody ain't got know, you know. What you gotta do? You know, I ain't do nothing yet. Just got, you know, at least we could start talking. And like Machiavelli, give them a little sweet and keep them coming. And then it starts with touching, and it moves from touching to caressing and so on and so forth. And next thing you know, you have a young lady that is selling her body to satisfy her hunger or to provide the needs that her parents can't provide because they're in the poverty line and below the poverty line. And the cycle continues because she already buy. I'm looking for fresh. She got to move on to somebody else. Say, there's another scrapehead. It's a nice way the understanding of the what I would call the definition of a scrapehead arises from. It arises from a place of need, a place of dispossession, a place of having to do anything with your life, especially young life, to survive. And so for the young ladies, if we got prostitute, we got prostitute. If we got to get into same-sex relationship, we're going to get into same-sex relationship. If we got to push drugs, we're going to push drugs. If we got to smoke, weed, and pop Molly, we're going to do that because at the end of the day, it satiates, satisfies our hunger. Right? I see that when somebody asked me to co-host just now, I don't understand what's going on, but I can find it. Yeah, bear with me on TikTok. I hope you're following me in the discourse too. And I'd like you to invite others to, you know, follow the discourse. There's a time when we will discourse together. Right. So we look at our young people, we call them all manner names. We put all kinds of labels to them. I mean, in this instance, I understand, like, it seems as though this is the name the young people have chosen for themselves. Scripts, because we're scraping. We got to do anything to survive. When I was growing up, we used to call girls who had to do these things to satisfy their needs we used to call them cockles. Y'all remember cockles and skettles? That's the young people don't recognize those terms. But those are terms we as adults grew up with. Cockles and scrapeheads, cockles and skettles. Now we're dealing with scrapeheads. It's the same phenomena of a cycle of poverty and government's poor policies to address the needs of young people and the needs of the society in general. Hi, Lauren. Thank you. Right? And out of that government's failure, what happens is naturally people got survival instinct. They will do what has to be done to survive. Like I say just now, Baby Sham say, we got a thing now. Not for them a duck, because we got a thing. We are squeeze 7, man. Ask the young people about Tech 9 and ask the young people about 9mm and ask the young people about I don't know all the guns. But you ask the young people. And when you look at the cost of these guns, when you look at the cost of the guns, you ask yourself, where young people getting money? Somebody just asked him a question. Where young people getting money to buy motorcycles? I'm going to tell you where they're getting money to buy motorcycles in case you're slow. And then when you look at the cost of guns, you ask yourself, where young people getting money to buy guns? I'm going to tell you where they're getting money from to buy guns in case you're slow. Remember, say, the pusher man, the underground man, the friend and favorite of the government, entices them to do devious things, wickedness, criminal things on their behalf. Well, that's where the source of income coming from. Hey, boy, and I don't need this society. This people care for me, you know. I gotta get something from this society. This society owe me something. What am I gonna do? I gonna push it back for this man because I want the XR. Because once I get the XR, I could ride and I could rob people, and I got the possibility of getting away with speed. And so I gonna push it back for the man who got it. And the man who got it gonna give me it. And I'm going to show some among the discipline perhaps, and I'm going to save it. Or maybe 1 or 2 jobs to the man and give me enough, and I'm going to go and get the extra. I'm using XR as an example. They got lots of other things that they can get. And I'm going to go and get XR, and I'm going to do what I got to do. Likewise, the man who wants a square peg for bossy competitor head on a livest competitor, going to provide a tool to do it. Where is a 9mm? Where is a what I just said, Tech 9? Where is a wherever these guns name? I generally don't know them. But whatever the weapon of choice, Mr. Have it will provide it to Mr. Scrape, who doesn't have it, so that he can execute the plan of removing the competition from the scenario. And there's how money coming for motorbike. There's how money coming for guns. There's how money coming for weed and all the other things that you can talk about. But we sit back and we play angels. We live in our glass houses and we look out and we say, watch them scrapes. Them young people end up on nothing. What provisions have we made for them? Where are the social programs? Where are the social programs? Where are the programs to reduce recidivism? What's recidivism? A youth man might get caught up because of circumstances in an illegal activity. He's arrested, he's sent to prison, or he's sent to juvie, wherever juvie we got in this country. But then he goes into juvie and he comes out 10 times worse than he went into juvie. Or because of age, he is sentenced to big prison, as we like to say, and he goes into prison, and instead of reformation, he escalates. It come out 10 times worse. So when we talk about recidivism, is going back to the same thing that you left, the same thing that put you in problem, you go back to the same thing. Where are the programs in this society to reduce or eliminate recidivism? Every time a youth man goes to jail, or from the first time a youth man goes to jail or a young lady goes to jail for something deviant, check the statistics and you will see that is just an introduction to jail, because they keep going to jail and they keep going to jail and they keep going to jail, because the only thing that they're improving when they go to jail is their deviant skills. Because they go into jail and they go and they reach more seasoned criminals who going to tell them what were the mistakes they made and how not to make that mistake again. And so they come out and they test this theory, how not to make that mistake again. Who, me? They can't catch me with weed no more. I going to continue selling me weed, but they can't catch me with weed no more. Because they catch me because I had the weed for me. I ain't walking around with no weed for me no more. Them gonna tell me what to do. I can cover it down into 10 couple mile away from me. Or for them, I can take mail order for weed. And then the authorities, whether somebody snitch or not, catches on to that, and they get hauling again for weed. But when we haul them in for deviance or devious behavior, criminal conduct, do we have institutions that will give them life skills? Marketable life skills. Life skills that they can utilize independently and stay out of the way of the laws, we like to see. We just saw you've been sentenced to 18 months in prison. Eat, sleep, and shit. Smoke weed. Make some life while in prison. Make friends with them gangster, them seasoned criminals, and then come back into society after 18 months. Scared. Right? Because you're now seen as you went to jail as a jail man. Society now is discriminating on you because you went to jail. Makes it more difficult for you to get employment with anybody. Because you're labeled. And so, coming out of jail doesn't make it any easier for you to survive, any easier than when you went into jail. And since you don't have any skill, any life skill that will help you to cope economically and socially, what are your choices? What are your choices? So when we are addressing the scrapes and we are addressing deviance and so on, let us start by addressing the lack of policies. And I will tell you again that when the coalition was in office, they had the Citizen Security Strengthening Program, which provided for young people who came out of school uncertified to get certification through skill training. Some of them, if they chose to move on in academia, they got that opportunity. Tell you the Sapphire Special School, GITC, Linden Technical Institute. I think there's a technical institute over the west side, whatever that one is called, Borbis Educational Institute, and all of those places. Young people are encouraged to apply to be placed in programs in those places. And once they applied, they went through a screening, let's say. Not a screening to disqualify them, but a screening to see where they needed the most help. Who were the most vulnerable? And the most vulnerable were given first preference to get into these programs with the necessary support systems in place, even down to literacy. So if you couldn't read and write and reason, and so the program catered for you. And you weren't being sent there, as I would say, dry mouth and empty-handed. The government provided a monthly stipend for you. So every month you could look forward to a little raise that will assist you in getting your raw materials that you needed for your training. You look forward to you were getting a raise that was going to take care of your transportation costs and a daily snack. So they weren't sending you to an institution to get life skills on hungry belly. They were catering to your needs. They recognize that. Ask the PPP where that program is. The coalition government, again, in recognizing the need to empower young people, there was a program in the interior regions where every month the PPP government was giving young people, they call them CSOs, I think community service officers or something, where they spent $20,000 or $30,000 to do nothing. Once you're aligned and associated with the PPP, or you're chosen by a PPP person, then you get 20 or 30 or 40, whatever amount of money every month to do nothing. You want to improve your skill. You want to empower yourself to be independent. They were just keeping you dependent on them by giving you a money every month. Similar to what they're doing to the 10-day workers. Tell them I say that. Because apart from providing 10 days of work for $40,000 a month, they're not doing anything to improve the skills of those 10-day workers. The coalition government came to point and say, hey, listen, this is dependency we're teaching these people. We want to scrap the CSO program. But in its place, we are going to put an empowerment program where people can go and learn skills based on their desires. So at the end of 6 months, 3 months, a year, whatever, they will be skilled. And they will know independence because they can use that skill independent of the government and earn. But while they're doing that, we will also give them a stipend to keep them afloat. And when they're done learning the skill, like we were doing on the coast, when they were done learning the skill, they were taught entrepreneurship. They were introduced to entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is basically business and investment and so on and so forth. They were taught how to do business plans, how to manage a business, how to do marketing and stuff like that. Then they were encouraged to submit their business plans to the ideas that they had. Those ideas were examined and strengthened where weak and so on. And then they were given money, capital, seed money to fund those businesses. To fund those businesses. And a mentor to work with them from the inception of the businesses to where they got to a point of knowing themselves and understanding the business and being able to manage on their own. That is empowerment. Ask your current government what they are doing for young people, except labeling them criminals, labeling them scrapes, forcing them into the periphery of society, forcing them into the ranks of the dispossessed, and forcing them to do things that are not necessarily lawful. Lyndon Daniels is saying that nothing is stopping the various NDCs from setting up certain educational. So I can tell you, everything is stopping the NDCs. Because unless the ministry or minister of local government gives its blessings to what the neighborhood democratic councils are desirous of doing, it can be done. And how do they control the NDCs? Because they hold the subvention over the heads of the NDCs, and they say, if you don't toe the line, then we don't give you no subvention, or we cut your subvention. And again, check, when I'm talking about discrimination, check, and you will recognize that in communities that are predominantly supporters of the PPP, the NDCs get more subventions than communities which are predominantly supporters of the opposition parties. So let me just bring it down for you. Annandale's subvention is usually way more than Buxton Falls subvention. Better subvention is usually way more than Pleasant's subvention. As a matter of fact, if you look at regional budgets, you will come to realize that where the PPP controls the regional democratic councils, the budgetary allocations are way more than where the opposition controls the regional democratic councils. Take, for example, Region 4. If you look at Region 4 is the most populated region. But compare their budgetary allocation to, let's say, Region 5 or Region 6 or even Region 2, and you will see what I'm talking about. The question is, these problems are identified. What's the solution? What is the solution? The solution is to demand more from your government. Demand more from the government of the day. How can you demand more from the government of the day? By raising your voices. And when you raise your voices and they don't listen, election day is coming. And when you go to the polling booth, then you ensure that your vote is a vote to remove them from office, so that a new set of people can sit in those offices and cater to your needs. Bring equality, bring justice, bring fairness to governance in this country. And I usually say, don't only vote for that change, but stay vigilant and ensure that those who you vote for to replace this crop of criminals, you hold them accountable. You hold them accountable. And so young people, there's hope. You don't have to remain scrapes all the time. You don't have to remain pawn for some criminal associated with the government all the time. You have what it takes. You have it in your hand. A vote. A vote is mightier than the sword, mightier than the gun. You have a vote. Ensure that you participate in the process that will choose a government that will cater to you. Ensure that you vote. How do you do that? How do you do that? Ensure that you're registered. Are you have an ID card? Part of the process for voting involves you getting an ID card. You have to be registered. You have to be on the voters list. Have you done that yet? If you haven't done that, then the opportunity still exists. GCOM is currently in a round of registration. If you haven't done that, find out where the nearest registration office is in your area and go get registered. That ID card is important not only for election purposes, but for the sake of conducting business and other things. Do that. And once you get registered, you ensure that you are on the voters list. Ensure that all your credentials are right. And make yourself available to vote on elections day to remove this government. But don't only do that. Engage your colleagues, engage your friends, your partners. Engage your fellow scrapes. Reason with them, boy. We can't continue with this thing. We can't continue like this. This government is bringing no justice to we. And let me try something new. Because here what happened? The rate at which they got us doing things, deviant things to survive, to eat, and so we can't make old age. Let me try something new, partner. Don't worry, the raise what let us give we every now and again. Every time people make a nice second, they request cash grant. And if we vote them back in office, we're going to get cash grant again. I'm a member of the Working People's Alliance, I call it, you know, but here it is. I'm saying this. The Working People's Alliance has proposed 5,000 US as a minimum, which is $1 million approximately to every household. Cash grant. What is government give you? 100,000. And we are saying any government reform, we're going to make it law. So every year you are entitled to cash grant by law. And if anybody want to win an election and if anybody win an election. Young people got to get involved in the political process because they got the energy, the same kind of energy that we use them to right around and create chaos and so on. The same kind of energy we could take and create chaos in front of the Guyana Elections Commission. Demanding that the voters list be clean. Demanding that they use biometrics in the next election. Demanding free, fair, and credible elections. That kind of energy we got used to it, youths. Come, let's use it in front of GCOM. It's a short-term investment for a long-term game. You can come out of the bracket of scripts. You don't have to remain there. But you have to have a government that is willing to put in place policies that will lift you out of poverty and dispossession. I ain't see it from the PPP. I ain't see it from the PPP. I ain't see it from the PPP. Why one of the richest men in this country could only own a Lamborghini if a government minister gets involved for him to allegedly pay lesser tax than is due? Why? Why the ordinary citizens in this country could only drive a car that is 40 years old? A used car from some other country. Why? Why citizens have to live on less than $5 US a day in this country? Why? When millions of US dollars are earned by this country on a daily basis from oil production. Who could change it? The majority of the voters in the next election are young people. You could change it. The majority of the society right now are young people. You could change it. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. Those of you who are on TikTok, I would like to have a conversation with you, but I don't know how to invite y'all. I don't know how to open boxes. How are we going to do this? I don't know. Y'all got to tell me because I want to hear this conversation. Let me see. I don't know. Is there a way any of you can send me a request and to join the live? I will definitely consider you joining the live. Leon, good morning. Caller, you're on.
Hello.
Caller, you're on.
Hi, Kadaki. Kadaki's like you having a little delay when the phone rings. It's taking a long time to answer because I called several times and it's not.
Caller, you're on. Get to the point. I answered. I can't answer if somebody else is on the line.
Okay. So could I talk?
Yeah. Yes, you can.
Okay. Kadaki, I just want to say good morning. And the programs that you have for the past week, they're very, very, very good. And this morning, what you talk about, the scrapes. When someone respond to me as a scrape, I say, yes, I am a scrape, but I move up. And we all can move up, regardless of what.
Can you folks hear what's happening on TikTok? Are you hearing the discussion?
Scrapes, they get educated scrapes, all type of scrapes, all words that they have in society, we are. So we can move up. We never mind we can be scrapes, but we can move up and come out and do the things that is educated to us, that is edifying for us, and that would help our family to move out of that situation. So, next thing, a lot of us might not have family to help us out or show us the right way. Some of us learn from our mistakes because sometimes families don't only want to deal with their children, or sometimes their brother is not around or their sister is not around to help them out with their children. So they just let them go by the wayside. But some people grow up family orientated and they help each and everyone in their family. They at least they try if they can't go the whole way. And this is what I grew up in Buxton and I see what Buxton was all about. They help you regardless of where you come from. They always try to stretch a hand, and sometimes we are the ones who pull ourselves away. And because I don't know, for whatever reason, if it's because by being grow up with people helping us, we don't understand the situation. But I think what we need is more togetherness. I think the togetherness that come from maybe your mother, your grandfather, our parents, but sometimes those parents passed away, they're not around anymore to push for certain things. And I think people listen to your program and to see, they might say you're hot-headed, but for years, Kadaki, I'm following you. And I understand where you come from. Sometimes you cannot talk to children. You have to put force and fist and let them feel like you don't care for them. But at the end of the day, you do care for them, Kadaki. You do. But because sometimes some children don't have that to listen and understand the words that you're putting out there. If a lot of us had listened, there are two back certain things that you were talking, they probably would have pulled up their bootstraps and realized that, oh man, what this man talking about is true. He got it down back and think. I think it's now a lot of them realizing that what you're saying was the goddamn truth. You get your information when you get your information and you put it out there. But it's for us to gravitate on it and to say what Kadaki is saying is the goddamn truth. Kadaki, I just want to say thank you very much. I'm outside, but I'm learning a lot from your program. And as I put it up and say, for we scrapes, we got to learn from you or anybody who's willing to teach us and let us know the right thing. Let us know the right thing, what to do for ourselves and help ourselves graduate from being a scrape. And Kadaki, I just want to say and remind you Spice Mango International Girls will not be having a carnival Juve this year. Hopefully next year, God's will, we will be having it. Due to the chaoticness that was going on in Guyana, I decided to cancel it. And what hit me more is to my neighbor, Sandra, when they told me that her son was shot and killed. I was, and Sandra and her family, they support me by helping me a part of my Spice Mango Girls Carnival. I could not have done that Juve and Carnival out of Buxton. No, it hit me very hard. And I feel for my friend Sandra. She's my friend, she's my neighbor. We grew up together in that village here. So, could I continue to do the good work? And God bless you. And maybe Monday, Tuesday, you'll be back on putting out more things. And I will get back in touch with you to tell you updated things what I will be doing. Okay?
Thank you, Carla.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah, sorry. Those who are listening on TikTok, I wish you would participate in the conversation. Again, I don't know how to get you to participate. Is it that you have to send me a request, or do I send an invite? Who do I send an invite to? Who would like to share on this topic of scripts and the phenomenon, the lack of policies and so on about scripts? Carry on.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to our Guyanese. I want to say a special salute to the people on the West Coast, Demerara, all of those in the Namstel, those strong fighters in Iflat and the Namstel, the soldiers and the fighters who represent the scripts. Martin Carter was a script. Dr. Martin Luther King was a script. Jesus of the Bible and Muhammad of the Quran, they were all scripts in principle. So scripts are a good place to be. You got to start at the bottom before you reach the top. I want to ask a question. But before I go to that, you know, around the world, the people who founded America, United States of America, as a station, as a nation, they were ruled by the British, and they didn't like how they were ruled. And they said the ballot or the bullet. Around the world, most first world nations have made that same truth, either the ballot or the bullet. Malcolm X also said that. So we've got options. Right? We've got options in this world. Is there a difference between the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, as they always ask you to swear in the courtroom? It appears to me that Irfan Ali's administration and government are telling people their truth, but is it the complete truth? It appears to me that what they are telling the family is just 30% of the truth. But they want the family to believe that that 30% is 100%. You see, it's based upon what you need to know. If I think you need to know this as a child, then I tell you that what you need to know, or what I believe you need to know as a child. What the government has been telling the Guyanese people is what this racist, dictatorial, autocratic government believes we need to know. Now, the family said they hired an independent pathologist from the state of Delaware. I don't know. So they hired an independent pathologist who came to Guyana. Some say the government paid the pathologist fee. Nevertheless, I think Darren Wade, an attorney, hired a pathologist. How is it that we hire a pathologist to be independent for the family? He starts out by being independent. When he arrives to Guyana, he is lumped in a group with others, and independency disappears. If he was independent, how is it that Darren Wade and Dexter Todd has to try to ask the commissioner of police for the results? So what was the purpose of us hiring an independent pathologist? That's the question. Because our people publicly need to think through the morass, need to think through the obscurities, the clouds. So I believe that the family did hire an independent pathologist. Somewhere along the line, the government stepped in and presented the pathologists a non-disclosure agreement. Obviously, there is a non-disclosure agreement. How do I know that? Because when you hire a pathologist to be independent, and then the pathologist did the work, but you who hired him are no less knowledgeable about why you hired him. You have to go back to the government and ask the government, can you please tell me what my pathologist who I hired concluded? So that means the government stepped in with a non-disclosure. So we need to act public, as John public, because I heard this young girl's body, Adriana Young's body, has been flown to the United States. So I've heard. And we are expecting a lot of things. And look, we have a right to expect a lot of things. That's what we expect. The whole truth. The complete truth. But keep in mind that when JFK was assassinated, we keep hearing for the last how many years, they're telling us the truth, and until now, the documents have been sealed. Privileged information. A few months ago, the information czar in Guyana has been accused by lawyers for not revealing the archives of the Guyanese facts and evidence. So there is a truth that the government wants us to know, and there's another truth that the government doesn't want us to know. And we have to say, we're not going to fall into that trap again. We have to say we're not going to fall into that trap again. With regards to evidence that has been revealed, I just want to touch on a quick point because you know the little brother of Adriana said he last saw Adriana outside of the pool. That's important. The little children said that they last saw her outside of the pool. And for us who want to say that she could have been in the pool, that's emphatically non-scientific. That's not possible. Another point I want to touch on about the condescending of the government. The original lie was that she left the hotel. Now, the lie has three parts. The middle part, the beginning part, the middle part, and the ending part. Notice that Critic and Jack Deal accepted the first lie that she left, the first part of the lie. And then Jack Deal recanted and said, no, the first part of the lie isn't accurate. How can you recant on the first part of the lie, yet Irfan Ali is holding on to the third part of the same lie? And the same lie has one agenda. You see the logic? The government cannot agree that the first part of the lie is a lie, but yet hold on to the root cause of why the commander issued the lie. Irfan Ali is still holding on that she drowned in the pool. That belongs to the lie, the original lie. So the government can't abrogate and replicate on the same lie. And I just want to show them the fallacy of how they continue to condescend to the people. I'm talking to them, and Nandalal in particular, and the rest of them. To show them as much as they try to deceive the people with the tangled web they weave, how they are making fools of themselves, as we say on this show, fool attack, fool analysis. DNA. Why is DNA sample collected for the owner? Because to get DNA samples means that you would have had to at least been accused of something by the investigators. Because to get DNA, I have to get you have.
Oh Lord, I'm living for you once more. They really don't know. Can't cool enough, can't water down enough. Not compromise, no time enough. Give it up. A big man like you, rape up a 6-year-old baby. A big man like you, Papa, you're gonna put 9 on a little old lady. A big man like you, born down a school and not talk, oh, you're mad, sick and crazy. But when God hold you, no if, no but, no matter, tell the Almighty, boy, maybe. Yes, them a lie, them. For the negative vibes that them a bring, yes, them a lie, them. Me come to mash up and wreck up them senseless killing. Yes, them a lie, them. Boy, you free first with them bag of gun thing. Yes, them a lie, them. Stand guard and come out of the wages of sin. So me see it, so me have to talk it. Out the rocky, but me still have to go walk it. You love your life, sit down and park it. And stop carry water in a basket. So me have to drop for all the Moses law. I feel iron that no for who know what push it till blood start draw. All the ranks boy you have to pay for. Yes, them online, yeah. All the negative vibes when them a bring, yes, them online, them. Me come to mash up and wreck up them senseless killing, yes, them online, them. Boy, you feel reverse with them bag of gun thing, yes, them online, them. Stand guard and come out of the wages of sin. Don't spot, you know, sister, you know, smart. Come and tell me, say you don't have no heart. A long time we have preach and attack, and until you get the politics a walk. But you will tell me you no afraid to pop it off, cause you love hear the big dog back. Yes, them a lie, them. For the negative vibes that them a bring, yes, them a lie, them. Me come to mash up and wreck up them senseless killing, yes, them a lie, them. Boy, you feel reverse with them bag of gun thing, yes, them a lie, them. Stand guard and come out of the wages of sin. A big man like you, rape up a 6-year-old baby. A big man like you, Papa, you're gonna put 9 on a little old lady. A big man like you, born down a school and not talk about you mad, sick and crazy. But when God hold you, no if, no but, no bother tell the Almighty, but maybe. Yes, them a lie, them. For the negative vibes that them a bring, yes, them a lie, them. Me come to mash up and wreck up them senseless killing, yes, them a lie, them. Boy, you feel reverse with them bag of gun thing, yes, them a lie, them. Stand guard and come out of the wages of sin. So me see it, so me have to talk it. Out the rocky, still have to go walk it. You love your life, but sit down and park it. And stop carry water in a basket. Now make me start use the Moses law. I fear iron that no for who know push it till blood start draw. All the crimes boy you have to pay for. Gash them and lie, yeah. For all the negative vibes when them a bring, gash them and lie, yeah.
Hi, Little Bob here from Bob's Discount Furniture. This Memorial Day weekend, we're kicking summer off the Bob's way in all.
Gash them and light them for all the wickedness where they're promoting. Gash them and light them for all the discrimination. Gash them and light them for abduction, child abduction, and sex trafficking. Yeah. Gash them and light them. What that says, Morning, welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is now 7 hours 32 on the 19th day of May in the year 2025. How you been? How was your yesterday? How was your Saturday? How was your weekend? How did you pass your weekend? Did you utilize that special talent you have to earn a little extra? You need to supplement the starvation wages that you're being paid by government, right? Did you utilize that special talent to bring a smile to somebody's face? What did you do? What has been your contribution to this society for the last several days? Have you been able to achieve those set goals, those smart goals that you've set? How are things coming along with that business plan that you developed some time ago? A smile to somebody's face. Are you now bringing that business plan into fruition? You know, a plan is a plan, it's on paper, but it is when you have to implement that plan that you find all of your teething problems. How are things going with you? You're talking. I want to know. I want to know. Let me remind you, in case you don't know, that in a matter of 6 days, Essequibo will have an election, or the Venezuelans are planning to have an election for a governor of Essequibo in a matter of 6 days. How much have you heard from your government about the Venezuelans' plan, and what are your government's intentions to scuttle this plan? Let me call it that. I don't know. I haven't been hearing much. I've been hearing about butterflies. I don't know if they're using bionic butterflies to ward off the threats of Venezuelan incursion. But we'll talk about that this morning. We'll also talk about the bombing of the West Rhinebelt police outpost. Is that the right area? West or East Rhinebelt? I think it's West Rhinebelt. The Rhinebelt police outpost. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about the evolution of improvised explosive devices, IEDs, in Guyana. We'll talk about that. But in the meantime,
my heart, wherever I wander, memories entwine and lead. All my hopes and aspirations, all my longings goes aside. Everlasting thoughts surround us as the fleeting years roll by. Unfolding more and more my destiny to reach the landscape the splendor and the use of prodigy. All the ashes of our glory, for the long, long night has passed. For rise triumphant, glorious, from the ashes of the past. For rise triumphant, glorious, from the ashes of the past.
Yes, my Ghana Eldorado. That one was performed by Alan Khan. Alan Khan did that version of my Ghana Eldorado there for you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're feeling some patriotism in your bones. It would appear as though you don't have patriotic leaders. But the reality is, you can't continue to have a country led by transactional leaders. People don't hold dear to their hearts the land that they are supposedly representing. Because at the first sign of trouble, they will cut and run. That's what they will do. They will cut and run. You saw the last time Venezuela started saber rattling what they did. The first family went out. They went to maybe Dubai. I think it was Dubai. Ministers of government went all over the globe. They were group plotting. It was the common man and woman and the few rejects of the government that were left here to deal with the Venezuelan situation. But we're just 6 days away from an election in Essecuto. And we're not hearing a whole lot about, first and foremost, I don't know what the plans are of the Venezuelans to host these elections. And secondly, and most importantly, I don't know what the plans are of the Guyanese government to stop these elections being held. Except, as they usually do, threaten and intimidate people and say, well, if any of you dare to participate in this election, we're going to charge you for treason. Right? We are going to charge you for treason. But isn't it treasonous? Isn't it treasonous when the very people sitting in government make all kinds of deals that endanger the territorial integrity of this country? Isn't it serious? Isn't it treasonous? So if you're looking for anybody to, charge for treason, I think you have to start at the top there. When the president was advised that going to Gonzalez's country to talk with Maduro and come up with the Argyle Declaration, which so far has been honored in the breach by Venezuela, nobody listened. Right? Nobody listened. The presidents acted against good advice from people who have been involved in this territorial quote-unquote dispute since I was a boy. And so if you ask me to go and make those arrangements, those agreements that resulted in the Argyle Declaration with Maduro, was treason in itself. That was treason in itself. And so you don't solve this problem by saying, if any citizen dare to partake in this election, they will be charged with treason. Perhaps as they should. But have we as a nation created the conditions that will make citizens feel secure and make citizens feel a sense of belonging, that they will be prepared to lay their lives on the line to defend the whole Guyana, Mother Guyana? I don't think so. Right. Robin Robbins, you're asking some important questions, which quite frankly, all of us would like to know the answers. If the Venezuelans are going to be holding an election in Essequibo in 6 days, what preparations were made for the vote? How did they arrive at a voters list, for example? And mind you, yesterday I was chatting with some friends, some acquaintances, some TikTokers, and I was asked the question, what's the population of Essequibo? And I went and I checked that out. According to AI, there are about 125,000 persons living there. So the Venezuelans are hoping to poll maybe 125,000 Guyanese, as we would believe, with the intent of installing a governor for Venezuela, for Essequibo, which the Venezuelans claim is theirs. And the Guyana government is not telling the citizens much. The Guyana government has not said to Essequibians, for example, how they ought to behave in an instance like this, except if you dare partake in that election, we are going to charge you for treason. That is all you can tell them. Have you gone on education campaign in the Essequibo region to explain to the citizens, the residents there, listen, do not be caught up in this nonsense that Venezuela is about to do. Essequibo is ours. Essequibo belongs to Guyana. You are Guyanese and you have no obligation and no right to partake in an election in this region purportedly hosted by Venezuelans. Have we gone out there to educate our people? Have we gone out there to give them assurances, reassure them that, listen, don't be afraid, continue to occupy these lands, these territories. We got your back. We will defend it to the last breath of life. None of that has happened, at least not from where I sit. But the residents of Essequibo are told, you dare partake in those elections and we're going to charge you for treason. So it's bullyism, right? Governance by bullyism. And it's one of the continued failings of the PPP in government. Continued failings of the PPP government. But let's watch how that unfolds. There are those of us who say, well, I shouldn't include myself in that because I have a different opinion. There are those Guyanese who say, listen, since Jack Dio and the likes in the PPP behave as though Guyana belong to them alone, let them go and defend Essequibo. Or let the Venezuelans take Essequibo. I have a different outlook. I believe they should go and defend Essequibo. Yes, with Sheriff and the rest of the paramilitary groups that they've established. So I do not believe that we should allow Venezuela to take Essequibo, because in case you didn't recognize, the Essequibo region is perhaps the most mineral-rich region in this country. Right? Essequibo region is perhaps the most mineral-rich region in Ghana. And so if you allow someone to take that, then you've allowed someone to take a lot of your resources, which can be used for development. Is that what you want? I don't think that's what you want. Is your government doing anything to prevent that happening? I don't know that they're doing enough. As we are right now, it's my firm belief that they're depending on the US, maybe Southern Command, US military, to stave off any quote-unquote attack, any incursion, any efforts at taking over, at least militarily, the Essequibo region. But do you think that's coming for free? That won't come for free. It is going to come at a very high cost. Maybe instead of Venezuela taking Essequibo, we'll be, if not already, we'll be giving it to the Americans. Is that what we want? Is that what we signed up for? Is that what we signed up for? Look at Ukraine. Trump told the Ukrainian president, quite frankly, we could defend you, but you have pay. Right? You got to pay. How much are we prepared to pay for an inept government? How much? A government that is so selfish and so focused on retaining power, staying in office at all costs. John C. Paul, you have some problem. I don't think anybody else has it. How much are we prepared to pay for a group of selfish people who all they are concerned about is staying in the seat of government to milk the resources of this country for their friends, family, and cronies? And when all of the signs were there, that the Venezuelans were making moves for what I consider soft invasion of Ghana, the PPP were welcoming the Venezuelans because they saw them as a vote factory to keep them in power. I want you all to recognize something. A week or so ago, I came upon a broadcast from one of the Venezuelan generals. And he was calling the presidents and vice presidents and so on some very derogatory names. But what jumped out at me is that he said this. And a lot of us have been saying it locally, but nobody is listening. He said this. I'm paraphrasing. The clowns in government, the idiot. I think that is exactly what we refer to the presidents. The idiot doesn't even understand how many of our military people we have sent to live among their populations, and how strategic we have been, and how these people are strategically placed to undermine them when that time becomes necessary. Can you recall that? Has any of you heard that statement before? One of the Venezuelan generals said that. Don't worry them over there, man. Them is idiot. Them is a set of clown. They don't even understand how we have infiltrated the Guyanese society with our people. How we have placed our people in strategic places to observe, to live and observe them, and to undermine them at that critical time whenever it arises. You think it's an idle gaffe? I do not think it's an idle gaffe. When you look at the number of Venezuelans who currently live in this country, if you ask me, there might be more than the Guyanese army size. More than Guyanese army size. And if the Trojans that have been placed here, let me call them that, by the Venezuelans are bigger than your army, what do you expect, folks? Tell me what you expect. You could have their way at any time. Isn't that so? At any time they can have their way. I want to quote a statement from Robert Prasad, who is supposed to be the Foreign Secretary, as reported on Big Smith News Watch. And the quote goes, given that we have close to 100,000 persons of direct or indirect Venezuelan ancestry currently in Guyana, shouldn't this reality give all Guyanese a cause to be alert? People's vigilance is equivalent to people's power and defense. That is what Robert Prasad said. A very telling statement that would hold true or should hold true in a functioning democracy, in a country where all people are treated as one, where there's one people, one nation, one destiny. Because then you would truly expect all Guyanese to have an interest in defending and protecting the territorial integrity of these lands. But when you have a society, when your country is divided according to race and ethnicity and according to who knows who and such, do you really and truly, sincerely believe that citizens will pay much attention, will be willing to put their lives on the line to defend what, some people will ask? In the first instance, the very people who are crying about the existence of almost 100,000 persons, and that is a conservative figure, because I guarantee you, the PPP is not giving you the accuracy of the numbers in terms of Venezuelans living in these shores, on these shores. But they are the ones who allowed the floodgates to be open. They left the floodgates open. They changed the requirements to citizenship in this country. They changed the requirements of birth certificates in this country, all in an effort to accommodate this 100,000 plus Venezuelans, according to Robert Prasad, of direct or indirect ancestry. Check and see all the amendments that they made. You can just, somebody just got to swear and say, hey, I know this child as of Guyanese parentage, and they can get a source document as in the birth certificate. And so they allowed it. As a matter of fact, you are one of the American ambassadors saying Guyanese must show more respect to Venezuelans, especially their women. The other Minister of Labor was saying the other day, he has no problem with Venezuelans coming here and work, even without proper documentation. And so why now Robert Prasad feels smart enough to tell Guyanese that all citizens should be alert? All citizens were saying to the PPP all the time, be alert. But the PPP was only seeing the possibility of garnering votes, illicit votes, to win an election to stay in power. So they plant and they're reaping. They plant and now they're reaping, and they want other people to reap with the tangled weeds that they allowed. I will continue to sit and watch as this unfold, because there isn't much else I can do. There isn't much else I can do. Or perhaps I'm not willing to do much else. Governments are supposed to lead. And this government ain't leading nothing. Especially, it's not leading the charge in educating the citizens about the situation as it relates to Venezuela in this referendum, election, whatever it is that they're saying will take place in Venezuela, in Essequibo. And so the residents, who mind you are majority supporters of the PPP as far as I'm aware, should ask themselves what they really are supporting. And if the people that they're supporting really have their best interests at heart. Those are some questions that should be asked. I'm feeling a little patriotic. So we're going to go to another national song. We're going to do My Native Land. You know, as I sat here, I thought about this particular song. Because the fact is, a time will come right? A time will come when, because of this crazy attitude this nearsighted behavior of the PPP, a Venezuelan will be in charge of the government of this country. Don't think it's far-fetched. Because if you've made citizenship so easy to get, then who's to say a Venezuelan will not acquire citizenship? And eventually contest for leadership of the government of this country. Did I learn that Marco Rubio is of Cuban ancestry? Am I right? So who is to say that in time to come, Guyana is not going to be ruled, governed, Guyana's government led by a Venezuelan or a citizen of Venezuelan ancestry? I listen to crazy man. When time to come, the PPP and the police come
Yesterday has come and gone, leaving some of us to mourn. Times we had and friends we lost, and while nature took its course, we have seen the many faces of slavery. We have seen the British Empire fall. We have seen Hitler's contribution to history. We have seen the rise and fall of the Berlin Wall. We have seen famines. We have seen wars. As you well imagine, we have seen nothing yet, because in time to come, America will have a black president.
We see that already.
In time to come, there's going to be an active world government. In time to come, the world will see human life cheaper than dirt. In time to come, from outer space, aliens will land on the earth. Team Africa will win the World Cup. Marijuana will sell in the shop. Science will produce bread out of stone and then create the first human clone. Technology will reach a new high. Buses and cars will fly in the sky. Trinidad will make a nuclear bomb. In time to come. In time to come. In time to come. Don't doubt that. Glenn, tell them for me. Papa lo polo, papa la la. Pala balobo, pala lele.
In time to come, just let me remind you that we are simulcasting right now. We're to TikTok, and so we have viewers on TikTok. And those of you on TikTok, welcome to the program. Welcome to Guyanese Morning Time. I wish you would share and you would invite others to view the live and share and so on and so forth. Right, I'm still working on getting it right so that we can actually communicate with each other. I can invite some of you into the boxes and we can chat. I think I'll have to set one day in the week, especially at this hour, where we will do the originating broadcast will be from TikTok, right? And so we can have the views of TikTokers and so on and so forth. But remember that, in time to come, a lot of things will be possible. You've seen a lot of it happen already. A lot of the things Crazy spoke about has happened already. Black president and all of that and so on and so forth. But in time to come, I believe this country might very well be led by a Venezuelan. Let's continue to listen to this classic.
Moving from the dark ages, man has progressed in stages. Through the stone and iron age, till we turn another page. And we saw the adventures of Alexander, waging war in his obsession for conquest. Inventions like the chariot and the saber, the weapons that put Europe under duress. Mankind achievements sometimes were great, and his glorious moments mark the passage of time. But wait, in time to come, mankind will have a colony on the moon. In time to come, this calypso will be a top 40 tune. In time to come, scientists will synthesize silver and gold. In time to come, people will have real sex by remote control. The first dead man will come back alive. Cancer and AIDS victims will survive. Babies will born with mustache and beard. Penis and kidneys will be repaired. The government will ban cigarette. Breakfast and lunch will be a tablet. A 2-year-old will split the atom. In time to come. Never hear you? In time to come. One more time. In time to come. For this new
Yeah, that was crazy, and that still is crazy because I haven't played the entire thing. The full version is actually 14 minutes 30 seconds, and so we do not have adequate time to play the full version. But you got a message in time to come. A whole lot of things are possible. In time to come, Guyana can get good governance, but it will take a lot of work, and it will take a lot of doing by the citizens themselves. Good. Because the citizens themselves have to take responsibility for electing a government that is capable of changing the fortunes of Guyanese, or a government, a group of people that is interested in changing the fortunes of Guyanese, and not only their fortunes. What we have is a cabal. We have a gang. We have a den of thieves in government right now. It's all about friends and cronies and family and favorites. Why do you think up until now there can be no justice for Adriana? Because the owners of Doubleday Hotel are among the elites of the PPP. They're friends of the PPP and cronies of the PPP. Some people say that they're relatives, family of the PPP, because they have PPP apparatchiks who are related to the owners of Doubleday Hotel. And so there can be no justice for Adriana up until now. I saw the so-called AG, dead foul, waxing lyrical about all that this government is doing to ensure justice is served. Ensure which justice is served? All that they're doing to ensure that justice is denied to the family of young Adriana Young. And just yesterday, I think I read the Kaicho News, and we were reminded that several years ago, while the PPP were in office, the very AG had threatened the lives and livelihood of people working at the Kaicho News. And the file was sent to the DPP for advice. There was a recorded conversation, and it is still languishing there. It is still languishing there. So you all point to me the good intents of these people who sit in government. Show me their respect for separation of powers. Show me that they are capable and willing to deliver justice to the Guyanese citizens. When they can announce bigly, as Trump said, bigly, they can announce that they've teamed up with some agencies of the United States of America. Now, biometrics are used at the airport for identifying travelers. But Guyanese citizens have been calling for years for biometrics to be introduced at GCOM to prevent fraudulent votes. And they've been telling us, Jim Cock Mekram vote, it can't happen, we ain't got enough time, it's too expensive, it is too complicated, and so on and so forth. Citizens must take seriously the responsibility for the government that they get. It means you have to ensure you get registered, you are on the electoral roll. It means you have to ensure that you talk with your relatives and friends and colleagues and so on, and encourage them to make the necessary sacrifices to highlight the ills of this government and to go to the polls and vote against them. A lot of people live in fear that if they take their own destiny in their own hands, they will be made to suffer by the PPP. In numbers, there is safety. If we bind together and we work together, there's no PPP to defeat us. There's no PPP to intimidate us. Okay? And I'm talking about intimidation. Let us not forget the number of people who were arrested by the PPP police force and placed in the lockups, now incarcerated on remand for terrorism simply because they dared to protest and demand justice for Adriana Young. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that the PPP has a history of pelting a brick and claiming to be the victims of that brick. Go back into the history, go back into the time of history, and you will see the role the PPP has played in all of the disturbances in this country. Politically motivated disturbances. Go and check their role, and you'll come to understand that they are accustomed to pelting bricks and then claim victimhood. These are people who are accustomed to burning cane fields as an act of protest against the then PNC government, Forbes Burnham government. Can you understand? One of the methods I understand they used was a lit candle. They lit a candle and left it there, and so it would burn down. And when it gets to the level of the trashes, it lights up the trashes, and then the cane field goes up in flame. So when first responders and so on rush to the cane field expecting to see the arsonists, they have been long gone because those candles were long lit and left there. Another method they used was to light rats afire and lose them into the cane fields. Throw metal into the grinders. Those were their means of protests, especially in the sugar industry. And so they were undermining the then Forbes Burnham government and so on in that manner. And it is alleged that they've killed a couple of their own and blame it on African Guyanese to create race riots in this country. And so when you look at that history, some people tell us about the Son Chapman bombing. When you look at that long history of the PPP and this scourge, the earth policy, then you ask yourself, who really was responsible for the 2 explosions over the weekend? Many of us thought it was 1, but then I'm learning it was 2. There was 1 at the Rhinebeck police outpost, and then there was 1 at the GPL substation. One would say in close proximity, not very far away from each other. Who really was responsible for the explosions? Who really is behind? Well, I haven't heard much about the device or devices that were used at the GPL substation. But the one used at the Rhinebeck police outpost, improvised, explosive device, improvised. Back in the day, they used to use Molotov cocktail, China bomb. Used to soak China in gasoline or some flammable substance over a period of time, and then insert it into a flambeau, a glass jar of any type, with a wick. And then they would light that wick and they would throw it wherever they want to create mayhem. And the rest is history. That is what Guyanese knew back then. That is what was being used. Ask the PPP, they can tell you much about it. Robin Robbins is telling me she saw where pressure cooker was used. Right? That had to be a big bomb, sis. But in this most recent incident, nuts and bolts and nails and shrapnel, that's what they call it, shrapnel, was used. So this particular device, this improvised explosive device, IED, has shown a level of sophistication that one would argue has not been seen in this country prior. The question is, how suddenly? Why now? How does this fit into all of the efforts the PPP has been making for the last several months, if not years, to create the kind of disturbance in this society that may very well cause us not to have elections? Because from the look of things, the PPP is on the back, on the ropes, as we like to say in boxing. The PPP is on the ropes when it comes to calling this election and the expected outcome, because they have done so much ill in this society that it would seem that even the people who would ordinarily support them are prepared to turn their backs against them. And so they were hoping to call elections early, September, October. But with the fallout from the Adriana Young abduction and murder, and the fallout from the protests and the extrajudicial killings, and the heavy-handedness in terms of charging protesters for terrorism and so on, they now have to go back to the drawing table because they recognize that they didn't get this society as locked as they thought they had it locked. And so they're back at the drawing boards. But while back at the drawing boards, they are continuing to make efforts to divide this nation and to cause people to live in fear. And they will use that fear as a campaign mascot to remain in office. And we have to watch them like that. We have to ensure we don't see this incident of bombing at the Rambelt police station, explosion at the GPL station, the fire at the Rambelt again, community center, the nursery school and daycare, and so on and so forth. We can't see them in isolations. We must look for that common thread. And that common thread for me is the PPP fear mongering. So keep your eyes on the price, keep your eyes on them. As we like to say, see something, say something. Continue to watch them. Watch them with eagle's eyes. And continue to work in your community to educate, to invigorate, to organize. To mobilize your people so that they can go to the vote and they can vote resoundingly against this wicked and vindictive and corrupt cabal. And you can stand guard over the defense of the votes. It is now 24 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour, as is normal. The lines are opened. Call and let's talk about them. Call and let's talk about the tough days that are ahead in this society. Talk about all that we're seeing. By the way, do you recognize that a few months before elections, or before even announcing the elections, the PPP have gone back to the National Assembly for supplementary budget of millions, hundreds of millions, billions perhaps, 5.7 what billion?
Hello?
Call you on your life.
Problem.
Call you
Hello?
on your life. Call you on.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning to everyone in the Guyanese diaspora. Good morning to all Guyanese. I liked the song. It's based upon the song that I'm inspired to say the things I'm about to say. In time to come, the government of Guyana will have to appoint the substantive chief judge and chancellor. In time to come, out of necessity, I think Guyana will make our nuclear bomb. In time to come, out of necessity, I think we will take Venezuela. In time to come, our people would realize that the Constitution in Article 33 tells us to defend Guyana. So in time to come, our people very well may consider making weapons to defend Guyana. In time to come. It seems to me as though the PPP believes that fear-mongering is going to work. I think in time to come, the Guyanese people will remove the PPP totally, meaning that in time to come, the PPP will cease to exist. It'll be of their own demise in time to come. Once again, thank you for giving me the time to talk.
Yeah, good morning. A happy week. And this is the week where we should have been able to talk more on the symbols of nationhood because this was the week so many years ago in 1966 when we were looking out for something that was never done. Hoisting our national flag, the golden arrowhead, learning to sing something that was new, our national anthem. We learned to recite our pledge. We were looking at what was to be, at what was happening, our own coat of arms, with our national motto of one people, one nation, one destiny. But look at what we are faced with now. Our flag has been destroyed because in the center of the flag now, defaced by one Guyana, our anthem is rarely being sung. People don't even know it. Our motto, it is trying to be erased. We had our own passport, a national passport, with a wonderful emblem of the coat of arms, with one people, one nation, one destiny. Now there is a new passport circulating without our national motto and the different things that goes along with it. You mentioned about the explosions and fire, but one thing that you forgot was the attempted fire at the international airport. Had that gotten through, I don't know what would have happened to Guyanese. You spoke about the thing about the Venezuelans and what they said, with the people being placed strategically into Guyana's population. I remembered when the Venezuelans started to come to Guyana. I remember in one of my reading book about the wooden horse of Troy, and I spoke extensively on these Venezuelans being the same as the wooden horse of Troy coming into Guyana. Now we got to think full. Now they imagine yesterday I saw a advertisement where a woman was suddenly talking, come to Annie Regina with your flag. And our motto is one people, one nation, one destiny. Every time when Guyana is in problems with Venezuela, then you're going to see the coming up. And if this installed regime did not give to Venezuela the river, and we don't know how many other parts of Guyana, we would not have been in this. And I feel that they are talking now about the leader not meeting with the install. If the leader don't meet with them, he is right. Because those children who they have locked up for terrorism in the prisons of Guyana, we need our young people out. We ain't calling for problem. Let our young people come out and they could stand up. And when it comes to fighting for Guyana, we got big security firms in Guyana. The main leading one, let them go to the border, take out the lands, take out everything. The person who give Venezuela right and title to Guyana is not Barnum, is not Granger, is not Norton. It is them because Barrett gave them permission to let Barrett take his team and go to the border and fight to reclaim what he has given over to the Venezuelans. It's not that we fighting race here. The PPP has divided Guyana again into a race state. Because long ago, when they had Apanjat, and when the PPP came back, they had derogatory statements. It's black people. Look, the other day, Bharat had his press conference and he said that the people are foolish. Who is he referring to? I am quite certain he is not referring to his own kind. Lastly, one of the lawyers had to sit out and attacking, turn and say that the black people are not lettered. Well, because we unlettered, we cannot be fighters. Let them the work at the lettered go and fight at the border. Bye bye.
Yeah, brother. Morning. Hello? Yeah, morning. Um, I listened to Sister Rhonda just now, and every single thing she thought is real positive, with which reason. And I want to echo some of them same sentiments to we people. And so, what I feel about the Kadaki this time here, so in trying to encourage, the brothers and sisters in this struggle for convince them to the polls and them kind of thing. We got to try we best to always see it because this is the we call the Gen Z's time, the young people them, and we got to meet them halfway. We got to meet them halfway and mix it with the old knowledge and thing because these people ready to be led. You just got to get the urge and the encouragement to be led because this PPP regime here, Brother Kadaki, we got to change course and start be, approaching we black brothers and sisters them in the police force and them thing and have reasoning with them. It must work. Let it get the consciousness and see what going on and thing. We ain't advocating for death and thing, but how is it that we could stand and see that is only one set of people just getting killed and then a little money go give to you, and them kind of thing, and life just move on. Just like that. And we got to this is why we got to be very conscious in reasoning with we young people them because they're ready to be led. Because this little girl that show that all young people want is the leadership. The leadership. And we can't attack them, with arrogance. I mean, I ain't saying that this happened and thing, but we have to attack them that we could encourage them because this PPP, hey, with this election, with all them things going on, we got to remind the young people that when these people go in power, an Indian man walk to a black sister in the police force and spit in her face. Call your monkey and tell she a black man I am supposed to dip on the earth. An Indian brother talk big on TV that we just cook a pot of food and poison all the way out. And we got sisters like Sister Onage Waljon, these black brothers and sisters, them in the party, in government there. And nothing, this how tight we there, brother Kanaki. And we got to share this knowledge that you could even beat the conscience out of them and make the show. And we got to share the little girl that show that young people ready to be led. And the PPP, the conscious of the use where they get in. they're conscious of what they're using. And if you see we lead them, I hope brother Narton and brother Nigel, and them listen to the young people them and put self one side. Put self one side for the sake of these people from this brutal and evil regime. You see how them people treating this little black girl thing? These people know what go on. I see what these people doing to me. And still people trying to say these people very convincing to lead me in another election. They would be so sad, brother. They would be so sad. People, let me get conscious. Let me get conscious for Christ's sake. Let me get conscious. Let me get conscious. We can't afford this brutal regime again inside there. Blessed love and thanks for your time, brother.
Good morning, Kadaki. Just want to make one quick point. The government is speaking about persons or whoever vote in the upcoming election in Essequibo that they would find themselves in trouble in terms of jail sentences and all this kind of stuff. Instead of they mainly speaking about they stopping any Venezuelan to set up any polling place in Essequibo. That's the first step. Before a person vote, they have to set up polling places. So how are you going to start speaking about people are going to face sentences if you're not speaking about stopping the Venezuelans from setting up polling places? It is so backward, I'm telling you.
Yes, good morning to you and all my black brothers and sisters in Guyana. Happy morning to all of you guys. To the last caller, my brother, listen to Flash Garden. You mentioned but the Cody boy who said if he getting really killed out, but you address him at my Indian brother, but then you address the little baby girl who they killed, the black girl. What we stand for? What we stand for in Guyana? Anyway, let's Garden move on. Now, I love the word remember. You see, the American government and Jagdio government, these are what they just do. For history, I study both. They create crime, to solve crime, to look good, and to make money from it. Mr. Granger should have never listened to what Donald Trump government said for taking 40,000 Venezuelans. When he knew for 23 years that we have a problem with Venezuela. But what Donald Trump did, he created that problem that today, that Guyanese have to pay for it if you want me help you, boy, for stop Venezuela. That is why Sarah Lynch, I'm glad you mentioned the word to her now because I'm always talking. What Sarah Lynch disrespect black people. When they keep press conference with 4 Venezuelan women and said, black people must respect them because they're more better than black man. And a couple of weeks after, one Venezuelan woman ran one black Guyanese boy was selling with cutlass and non-police in arrest or ERC, see and know and see the news. And he never tell Jagde to find that Venezuelan woman and lock her up. Black people have to get up and fight. Now, this morning program, that all these things where y'all believe going to come, and you have to fight for it and demand it. Not, my grandmother teach me, nothing come to black people easy in this world. She said, if you got to fight for it, fight for it. If you got to line up it, line up it. Whatever you got to do for it, because our ancestors died and leave it for us. Black people have to stop coming on program and just talking and not doing nothing. One more thing before we go. Couple weeks ago, one young boy come and said, Mr. Amsterdam, what happened to all them MP? Why they don't go around and teach them black man teach young people? When I objected that, I said nonsense. Grandparents and parents got to teach them young people. But I show that when Mr. Abinat was outside the opposition, he did that Friday. I didn't even see 100 young people. Me sure he did not even go. Me sure he did not even organize young people in the neighborhood and join the protest there. When we call it by young people, we just have to let young people know you got to get outside there. Don't wait for nobody to call you, because nobody called them when them go and represent the criminal family. Mohammed, all of them went there, young people, but them did not come out there Friday. Me said, look at this nonsense. And I'm coming on program and I talk. Thank you very much for your time.
Hey, good morning, Raki. Good morning to the viewing and listening public. Now, I'm saying something. How do the public know that there was something going on at the border there, other than what is being peddled by the media, right? Nobody has no video evidence of this was going on at the border, right? I think this thing is to shift the attention, shift the focus from this little girl's demise, right? So I'm saying that people should not take this thing at the Venezuelan border so serious, to take it with a grain of salt. People got to get hard evidence to know that something is going on at the border, because these people are massive deceptions, right? I don't think nothing is going on at the border. I got to see it. That's my contribution this morning. Thank you very much.
Good morning, Mr.
Good
Amsterdam. According to that song, In Time to Come, when my grandkids ask me, what were the black people doing? I must let them know that the black people were controlling the army and the police force, and they did nothing. All they did, they were having morning and afternoon shows and talking about it. And these things did not happen, I would tell them, by the white people. It happened by about 3 or 4 Indian guys that making them slaves, and have a lot of black people with them also, that join to allow you, my grandchildren, to be like this in this country, to be ruled by a Venezuelan government. Yes, in time to come, I would not be surprised that it can happen. And then black people would be sorry and regret, because they fail to do anything that may be beneficial for their grandchildren in time to come. Bye.
Kadaki, blessings and good morning to you, my brother. Hope you had a great weekend. The struggle continues. Kadaki, yesterday I happened to tune in on
Morning, Mr.
YouTube and
Kadaki, and the listening viewers here and around the world. My take this morning is that all you see that this government is doing, things is gonna blow up in the face and the supporters. Because when you look at it, the Venezuelan, especially the women, they break up people's homes And Indian men like to pick fear, especially when they drink the rum. And their people, their supporters would be affected. The Venezuelans gonna carry out crime against most of the Indians people before they attack African. And this guy don't sleep. Second, this thing with Jack Dio, they say where we can give Venezuela a piece out to the Atlantic Ocean, he's supposed to be prosecuted for that statement that he make. And to me, that is what give Maduro the full power to do what he's doing today. These people don't care, and we don't know what more they're doing to sell out Guyana. They don't care. The pocket done full, and anything could happen. They don't care. But we gotta learn, and like my brother said earlier, we gotta teach the young people them, because where there is life, there is hope. We can see with this Adriana problem, young people ready to take the driving wheel. And we gotta teach them, edify them what is going on. And I gotta say kudos to this guy that enlightening us whereby sheriff security calling out people to loot. And when the black people go to do stuff, they shoot them like bird. But in time to come, everything gonna reveal and straighten out. I watched Anil Nandalal on Dennis Chaval on a show recently. And to see that 3 black men sit down there and get a thief like Anil Nandalal drilling them, and them not asking you the real issue what affecting Guyanese. That is my take this morning. Thank you.
To saw this so-called attorney general Anil Nanlal. Karaki, he was on a panel with this fella Vivian Williams and Dennis, who is this journalist and a reporter from, I think is up the Grenadines. His name is Kendall. And I listened to this man, Anil, yesterday. Kakaraki, if he is the AG for a country, or they still need a AG, you know. This man embarrassing, boy. This man have no class. He talking about Dexter Todd. He practicing for 13 years, and this man from Canada, who they appoint to come to investigate the murder. Dexter Todd, not in this man class. And Kakaraki, if you listen, Dr. Dexter Todd, he will make a better attorney general than Anil Nanlal. This fella have class. He can speak. He sounds professional. He sounds trustworthy. When you listen Anil Nanlal sound like a gangster. I doubt he have the credential to be IAG. God forbid. This man, something wrong with this man, boy. This man is an embarrassment. And ever so often he taking up a cup with a crystal liquid. I know that is not water. That look like high wine. Because whenever you take a drink, he eyes on them getting red. And then you have no class, boy. and you're a biased person, when you listen, the way how you speak, your conversation, it have no substance. It's just pure bias. Kakaraki, thanks for giving me the opportunity to make my contribution. Have a great one, my brother.
WP has its press conference later in the morning. It is time for me to go. It is 6 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. I want to thank you all for joining the program. Those of you on TikTok, thank you. Have a great day. Those of you on Facebook and YouTube, thank you. Have a great day. We're going to go out with one other national song. Right? Yeah. Just having a flag day is not going to cut it. We have to do more than that. And the government has to lead the charge. That's all I can say. Let's say a song of hope by the Woodside Choir.
Wise